want to thank everybody for joining me today. My name is Wesley Boudreau, one of the financial advisors here with the Retirement Group. Today we're going to go over the Social Security webinar that we've put together. This is something we do in a seminar format and spend a lot more time on it. But since the webinar, we're going to spend kind of go through a little bit more quickly, but touch on a lot of the key highlights of things that you do need to be aware of when it comes time to planning for Social Security. So before I get started, for those of you that do not know who the Retirement Group is, we are an independent financial advisory firm that does focus on helping corporate employees transition into retirement. We've been doing this for about 30 years or so. We work with a lot of the Fortune 500 companies. Our primary goal is to make sure that we understand your benefits inside and out, so we can help you with that transition process and make sure when you do decide to retire that you do not leave any money on the table and don't make any mistakes. So we've got additional webinars on the website that go over company-specific plans, but again, feel free to give us a call if you have any questions or need to run a review for your specific situation. Again, you can reach us at 1-800-900-5867. Now, as far as Social Security, again, any questions you have, just give us a call. We'll be happy to run an actual Social Security analysis for you after we've gone through this webinar. But some of the highlights to be aware of are going to be when do you actually claim Social Security? So that's one of the biggest questions we get from a lot of people. And unfortunately, there's not a one-size-fits-all solution. That's why we need to run a full analysis for you. But generally speaking, you got the choices anywhere from age 62 under normal circumstances as an early retiree, all the way to age 70 if you want to defer those benefits a little bit longer and get some increases. But your normal retirement age, depending upon when you were born, is going to be anywhere between 66 and 67. So we're going to go through some of those different options of when to claim your Social Security, and then some variations of that and some of the pros and cons to those. Now, as far as what you need to consider when it comes time to claiming Social Security is there's a couple things to look at. Number one, what your full retirement age is and what your benefit calculations will be. If you need help calculating that, we can run an estimate for you or show you where to get your actual estimates from the Social Security website. And you want to figure out what the amount of your future benefits will be and the effect of delaying retirement. So a lot of that comes into play as to what your longevity issues may be and whether you want to collect Social Security benefits sooner or later, and depending upon whether you're married or not, because there may be a benefit of extending those benefits beyond your life. So again, how long you expect retirement to last based upon that life expectancy we just talked about, especially whether you plan on continuing working. Generally speaking, if you're going to work and you're making income, you probably should not be claiming Social Security, but there are situations where it could benefit you. So again, that's a case-by-case situation we look at. And then one that a lot of people overlook are the income taxes associated with Social Security, because there's a little bit of a different tax bracket for Social Security. So that's one that we focus on big time when it comes to planning taxes for our clients at the Retirement Group. And like I said before, if you're married, there's definitely some spousal benefits to consider as well. So when we talk about the different options as far as when is your full retirement age, if you take a look at this chart right here, it'll give you the breakdown. But generally speaking, if you're 66 years old now or turning 66 this year, your full retirement age is actually going to be 66. If you're actually 60 or younger, it's 67. And if you're between 60 and 66, depending upon the year you were born, whether it was 55, 56, 57, 58, or 59, it's going to be 66 in 2 months, 4 months, 6 months, 8 months, and 10 months. So for each year, there's about a two-month bump on there. So for most of us, we're looking at between 66 and 67 for your full retirement age, and that's where your benefits are calculated so that you get 100% of your Social Security benefits. Now, as far as the calculation for those, we're not going to go into detail on here, but if you need help, we can walk you through how to calculate your benefits, either an estimated version on the Social Security website, or actually I'll walk you through how to go to ssa.gov to log in and get your specific benefits with your income history. But what they do is they look at making sure you have 40 quarters, so 10 years of employment in order to qualify for Social Security. And they'll take a look at the highest 35 years of earnings, and they'll apply a formula in order to determine what your actual benefit will be. So again, but to get yours, we can run through that calculation for you and let you know, and also review some different options as far as whether it makes sense to stay on longer or not, whether it's going to maximize your Social Security benefits, because for a lot of people we work with, they may have already hit that maximum benefit as it is anyway. So that does come into a case when we do the financial plan and look at the overall situation. Now, As far as how much you'll receive, we'll take a look at a couple different estimates here, but let's assume that somebody's 66 is their full retirement age, so they're 66 or older now, and that benefit is a simple $1,800 per month. Now, I mentioned before you have the option of taking it as early as 62 or deferring it all the way till age 70. The earlier you take it, the more of a reduction you're going to get in your benefits. The later you take it, you'll get an actual raise. So in this case, generally speaking, it's about a 25 to 30% reduction if you take it at 62. But in this scenario, we see 1,800 at age 66, but if this individual took it at age 62, I would drop down to 1,350. So it's about a $450 reduction. And if you see each year they wait to 63, 64, 65, it goes up, close to around $100 or so, give or take a little bit. So that is a raise you're getting if you decide to wait. So a lot of individuals we talk to with this, there's that age-old philosophy of bird in the hand versus two in the bush to determine, what you want. A lot of people will want that Social Security now because they know it's something they're getting now and they're not as concerned about the future. Or it helps alleviate stress on other assets. So that's why it's important for us to run a cash flow analysis to show you the options of claiming strategies with Social Security coupled with your distributions you may be taking from your 401k or an IRA or your pension you may be getting from the company. But if you look at this, so if this person, like I said, it goes up by about $100 or so each year. So again, the longer you live, the more you're going to get paid over time. But there is a break-even analysis we'll have to look at when we run that review for you. Now, on the flip side, let's say that that person doesn't need that money or they want to defer it until age 70. Then you're going to get actually an 8% guaranteed increase or a raise each year. I'll be honest with you, there's really nowhere you're going to get an 8% guaranteed return anywhere in the financial industry. So this is definitely something that if you can afford to defer, where you're going to get the best bang for your buck, assuming you have longevity. So again, ultimately speaking, when we look at this, it's all going to depend upon how long you live or how long you both live if you're married and have a spouse that could claim benefits here. But in this case, that 1,800, if you're waiting all the way till age 70, it's now going up to about just shy of $2,400 or so. Now, when you look at all of them combined, and you look at that growth from age 62 to age 70, it's about 76% growth. But if you look at this example we ran, that specific individual from age 62 to age 70 actually had about just shy of $130,000 of income they would have collected from Social Security. So it's definitely a big concern to review. If you were to wait until age 70, yes, you're going to get an increase as far as your income, but you've given up $130,000 over the last 8 years. So the question becomes, how long does it take to recoup that, and where's your break-even point? For most individuals we run the cash flow analysis and Social Security analysis for, it's going to be early 80s, maybe 82, 83 or so. But again, in this scenario, just look at the simple math. At age 70, it's about 2376, and at age 62 about 1350, so a little bit more than $1,000 a month difference. So that's $12,000 a year more at that point in time. So at 130,000, it's about 11 years break even. So if this individual makes it to age 81 to 82, then they're going to be better off having deferred, just looking at the math. And that does not factor in the time value of money, or maybe if you reinvested that $130,000 or didn't spend it, or if you needed it. Because again, a lot of people have more of a focus or a care on what their needs are now, prior to mid 70s or 80s, and less of a concern at 80 and beyond. So it's just a matter of yes, financially it may make sense to defer until 70, and that break even, as long as you're going to live into your mid 80s, works out. But what's that quality for you? So everybody's a little bit different. We just need to run the scenario to show you what your choices are before you make a decision. Now, we talked about that life expectancy and trying to get over 82, 83. Ultimately, life expectancy has increased quite a bit, but every individual has their own longevity issues with their family. But right now, about 1 in 3 retirees will live past age 90, and believe it or not, about 1 in 7 will live to age 95 or later. So again, on that deferral side, the longer you live, the more beneficial that is for you or your spouse. Again, if you're looking at a joint option. Now, so let's assume that you're still working, and how will those benefits be affected? Ultimately speaking, if you work prior to full retirement age and you decide to turn on benefits early, it could cost you in greater income taxes because you're going to be earning more money. but it's also going to reduce your actual benefits. So if you decide to work and start taking Social Security prior to full retirement age, you're only going to be collecting about 50 cents on the dollar if your earnings are over $17,640 as of last year. It's been inflated just a little bit. Now, the year you turn full retirement age, let's say it's somebody right now, age 66, you're actually going to be reduced. It's going to be 1/3 is going to be withheld of your earnings if it's over 46,920. But then once that person turns 66 and they're at full retirement age, does not matter. You can earn $1 million and you can still collect your full Social Security benefits. Now, obviously, if somebody's working until 66 or 67 or 68, the right decision may be simply to defer and get that 8% raise we talked about, because it's hard pressed to beat that. But again, it's a case-by-case review we can look at for you. Now, as far as the taxes we talked about, there is a little bit of a different tax treatment when it comes to Social Security. For most individuals that we work with, you're going to be looking at about 85% of your Social Security being taxed. That's going to be if you're single and making over $34,000 when you factor in your adjusted gross income, or over $44,000 as a married couple. If it's less than that, it could be taxed only up to 50%, or it could be taxed at 0%. So if you do not need a lot of income, or you're in a low income bracket, you could actually be getting your Social Security benefits for free and no taxes. Now, as I mentioned, a lot of people we work with are in the camp of having 85% of their Social Security taxed. But if you are working with a retirement group, I mentioned before, we do a lot of tax planning help and strategies. For a lot of our clients, we may look at year-by-year cases, in which case, depending upon the assets, you may be able to increase your taxes, or increase your income one year, but keep the same tax bracket, in order to the next year reduce your income or reduce your spending, and that way you can actually reduce your tax bracket and possibly get your Social Security down to 50% taxed or even 0% taxed. So those are one-on-one situations that we can run through with our clients. But if you have any questions on that, definitely give us a call at 1-800-900-5867. We'll be happy to go through that with you. Now, as far as spousal benefits, a lot of the stuff we talked about before was just looking at your own individual situation. But obviously, many individuals are married, and if you have a spouse and they have the option of earning Social Security based upon their own earned credits and their own benefits, or even if they haven't worked a day in their life, they could get spousal benefits. What's going to happen is the spousal benefits, to keep it simple, is roughly it's half or 50% of what your benefits are based upon full retirement age for both of you. Again, if you took it early or your spouse takes it early, then it would be reduced. But so let's use a quick example. Let's say that you're looking at your spouse, your benefits are $2,000 a month, and then your spouse hasn't worked, but her benefits would be $1,000 a month. So collectively, you're looking at $3,000 per month for your benefits. Now, let's say that she did work and her benefits were $1,200. Then she's not going to get the spousal benefit really, but she's going to get her $1,200, and you're going to get your $2,000. So you'll be at $3,200 for the month. Now, if she did work and let's say her benefits were only $600, then she'd be getting that $600 plus $400 to bump up to that $1,000 spousal benefit. So again, there are different claiming strategies as far as when to select your Social Security, as well as when to select spousal benefits. So that's something we would run through that review to let you know those options. Now, God forbid something happens to you, there are survivor benefits, and on that same scenario we just talked about, what's going to happen is your spouse will step into the higher Social Security, whether that's theirs currently or whether it's yours. So let's go back to that example, and let's just assume that the husband was older and he had the $2,000 Social Security benefit, and the wife had the $1,000 spousal benefit. And let's say that unfortunately the husband passes away. So what happens at that point? Then the wife would actually step into the husband's benefit and get the $2,000 a month for the rest of her life, and lose that $1,000. So instead of going $3,000 to $1,000, it goes from $3,000 down to $2,000. Vice versa, if the wife passed away first, then the husband just continues to get his $2,000 a month for the rest of life with the cost of living adjustments associated with it. Now, survivor benefits can be taken earlier at age 60, but again, there's the discussion of reductions when we look at all those options. Now, there is another option. They did away with the file and suspend option a few years ago, but for a few people that are 66 now, there is still a restricted application strategy. for married couples. What that will do is it allows you to actually start collecting spousal benefits based upon your spouse and defer your worker benefits until a later date, usually age 70, for instance. So in that same scenario, let's say that that spouse we talked about, her benefits were actually going to be $1,500 a month, but she decides to take that spousal benefit of $1,000 and then defers that $1,500, and maybe it grows to about $1,900 or something like that at age 70. So that way now they've been able to not double dip, but they're able to defer and get a higher income level once she pulls the trigger at age 70 or so. So again, this is case by case situation. When we run through the analysis, we'll be able to uncover this for you and go through those various claiming strategies and show you a full graph as to what the best combination of ages may be for your situation. Now, so as far as when's the best time to take it, like I mentioned at the beginning, there's really no one size fits all. It's all personal. So some of the different choices as to why you may want to look at it earlier is because you need the Social Security income right away. That's an obvious one. If you need the income, then it's something that you may be forced to do. We also talked about the bird in the hand versus two in the bush, where some people may be more concerned about the solvency of Social Security, making sure they get what they can sooner rather than later, as well as not knowing when you're gonna pass away. The other option, if you don't need it, you may want to invest those monthly benefits. And we looked at that example before of the $130,000 of earnings over that 8-year period. If you did not need that, you could have actually invested that, and instead of maybe having an 81 or 82 break-even age, it could extend that out into your 90s, depending upon how well you invested it. So again, something to consider. And you want to make sure that if you want to delay having your funds from other retirement vehicles, so let's say you want to actually let your 401k grow, your IRA grow, and you'd rather take your Social Security so to alleviate some of the pressure, that's another option to look at. And obviously, we talked about spousal benefits. Your spouse may want to delay claiming his or her benefits, so you take yours early and structure the spousal benefits with that restricted strategy. Now, some of the reasons to actually delay it, we talked before, is obviously you want a higher income possibly. So again, as long as you think there's longevity there, you're going to get a raise each year you wait. So you'll lock that in for the rest of your life or even your spouse's life. And again, you want to maximize that survivor income we just talked about for your spouse, especially if there may be an age gap. If you're working longer, then obviously you want to look at deferring. You don't want to lose some of those benefits. And then if you're able to file the spousal benefit first and switch years later, we talked about that restricted application as being an option as well. And that's one reason you may want to actually defer yours. So with that, I want to kind of wrap it up. Again, when we talk about the Social Security analysis, it's something that if you have any questions, just give us a call at 1-800-900-5867. We'll be more than happy to run that. But also, more importantly, we couple it with our cash flow analysis, which is going to be a specific review to take a look at your retirement strategies and based upon your company benefits plans to help you determine the best day to retire. With a lot of the companies we're working with right now, there are pension decisions, whether it be an annuity that can complement Social Security or whether it be a lump sum. The interest rates are the lowest we've ever seen in the history, so it's generating some of the best lump sums right now. So again, as I mentioned before, feel free to browse the website. We've got a lot of different webinars going over those specifically, but the easiest option is to just give us a call, again, at 1-800-900-5867. We'll be happy to answer any questions or gather a little bit of information and run that full cash flow analysis for you. I want to thank everybody for joining me today, and I hope you have a great day, and everybody stay safe.